Alrighty, I think it's gonna be a quiet one tonight because I think most people I know are in bed, but that's okay. That's okay. I just got back from the gaming proms a couple hours ago, which is basically where a live orchestra plays, well, game soundtracks in this instance, hence the name Gaming Proms. It's the first one ever, so it was really cool to go. I got tickets as an early birthday present. And now I can't sleep, so I thought, well, what better way to spend the rest of the evening than to play another game? So, today we are looking at Hikeback, which is a game that I found out about on someone's Twitch. I can't remember who it was, unfortunately, but someone in that chat is a game dev, and this is the latest, I think. But if you want to check out more, you can look at the itch.io link there, itch.io. Am I the only one who says itch.io? I say it as one word. But yeah, they've got some really cool stuff on there, and I'm excited to play this one. This one is free to play. It's one of those, donate what you want or what you can kind of deals. So if you don't have a lot of money, you can still play it for free. But let's get into it. Let me tell you a story. It was late that night. I was driving through some backwoods to visit a friend. Then I spotted something on the side of the road. That's when I first saw you. Sticking your thumb out, looking for a lift. So I decided to stop and help you out. The night was so dark that I could barely see your face, but I managed to catch a glimpse of you through my faded headlights. Oh, that sounds really interesting. I like the background. And this kind of like, not cartoony, that seems the wrong way to describe it, but like this pencil drawing style for the foreground. Very cool. Your front was smeared with dirt and grime, and your hair stuck out in every direction. You asked me for a ride to the next town over, and I said yes. I watched you climb into the back seat. We rode together in silence for miles. There was no radio signal out here, so music wasn't much of an option. I could barely hear you breathing. Sometimes, I thought you were there at all. I could feel myself starting to nod off. That's probably not great when you're driving a car, but okay. It's really hard for me as a UK person to kind of, I mean, not to say people in the UK don't fall asleep at the wheel, but I feel like it's much easier for that to happen in the US, because the UK is so small in comparison. Like, you can drive the length of the UK in a day. It'd be a long day, but you could do it. Whereas obviously in America you can go for like weeks. And it's really hard for me to like grasp that concept. Like, rationally, technically I know that's true, but it's a really hard thing for me to picture. The dust in the headlights swam in lazy stream. Uh-oh. And just as I started to drift away... Ooh! That made me jump. Something pierced through my stomach. Oh, fuck. You stabbed me, bro? Your arms were around my waist from behind the seat, your fingers clutching a bloody scalpel. My throat closed up. My mind went blank. My senses screaming. I lost control of the wheel. Oh shit. I love the sound effects in this though. Very minimal but very effective. Head was pounding. Needles prickled across my skin, cut with shattered bone and shrapnel. Every breath I took was harder than the last. There was no one else in these woods. There was no one around to help. I was going to die here. Next to me, I could see you coughing up blood. Your arms were embedded with broken glass. I asked you why you did it. There was no point, after all. Now we were both going to die with no one around to find our bodies. You gave me a wry smile. My vision faded to black. You spoke, with a voice like gravel and serrated teeth. You told me that you couldn't help it. It was in your nature. This is so good. I'm so into this already. End 1. Nature. Okay. Oh, how do we get other endings then? End. Hey Richie, welcome in. What the heck? Okay. Oh. That was rude. It's like a lot of visual novel games will often just have bad end. Yeah. Let me tell you a story. How are you doing? I hope you're well. My name's not important. Never liked it much anyway. But can I interact with anything? Is that possible? Oh, no, didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. I was driving that night to visit a friend on the other side of the mountains. I guess we just have to keep going then. You have Game Pass. I seriously recommend the Nonary games? Nonary games? Alright, I'll have a look at them. I do have Game Pass. Thank you. You might have to text me that because I'll probably forget. Never met them in person before, but they needed my help. That was all that mattered. This place really was out in the middle of nowhere, though. Not a sign of civilization to be seen. I was messing around with the radio when I saw you. Scrawny thing in dirty clothes, sticking your thumb out. So that's my only option. I decided to stop. Okay. So I decided to stop. What the hell, you know? Felt bad for you. Maybe you really needed the help. I don't think I could have lived with myself if I abandoned someone in a bad spot. So I flashed my headlights and pulled over beside you. This is really reminding me of like The Hitcher. You know, he picks up Rutger Hauer and then he's just like fucks with him for like no reason. It's just in his nature, I guess. God, I remember seeing that film for the first time. It shook me up. Good, thank you. Back on 100mg sertraline, so sleeping like dog shit again. Hence being up at 2 AM. Oh, mood. I mean, I'm not on any different medication or anything. My sleep cycle, I guess, is a generous way of calling it, has just gone out the fucking window. For a second there, I thought you meant the Hitcher from the Mighty Boosh. No, I mean the Hitcher the movie with Jennifer Jason Leigh and Rutger Hauer. What year was that? I want to say 78, but I could be completely wrong and I could have just made that up. Let's have a look, shall we? The Hitcher. 86, yeah, nowhere near. Nowhere near. In my head, it's a much older film than that for some reason, but also in my head I'm going, well, Jennifer Jason Leigh isn't that old, so it can't be that old. How are you doing, Goth? Welcome in. Also, hi. Hi. Alright, let's see. So we already had an ending, and it was not a good ending. So this is our second cycle, I guess. We had, like, the first one was just visual novels, so there was no, like, interaction. The second one had an option, but it was literally one option, so it wasn't really an option, because there was nothing else I could select. So we'll see how we go. Stressed, depressed, about 7 to 8 vodkas in. Crikey. Sorry you're not feeling great. As soon as I got out of the car, I could tell I made the right call. It's been a week. Oh no. If you want to talk about it, feel free, but no pressure, of course. Oh, we can see him now. You look like shit. The knees of your pants were all scuffed and your whole body was smudged with dirt. So, for those of us just joining, the first time we watched this, we could see like the bottom of the number 8 on his jersey, but then anything above that was just kind of faded, vague outline. So he's getting more in focus, I guess you could call it. Big chronic flare up in the midst of both moving stress for myself and moving stress for a partner. Oof, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I was trying to get an early night because I've been really tired for the past couple of days. So, you know, we watched a bit of TV when we got back from the proms, and then we went to bed, and then my body immediately went, that's a silly idea, no. And everything was on fire, so now I'm up again. You needed help. Badly. Hey, you alright? Where you headed? You looked at me with blank stare, as if I was saying nothing but meaningless noise. I sighed and took a step forward. You eyed me warily. Look, you need a ride, right? If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction? You seemed to consider this for a while. You ran your fingernails up and down your arms, as if you were scratching at something. After a bit, you finally looked at me in the eyes. Is there a town nearby? I could tell just by listening to you that you desperately needed a drink. Oh, was that them saying that? Whoops, my bad. Unfortunately, I didn't think the half-empty soda sitting in my cup holder would cut it. Nearby? Not for a while yet. There should be a gas station at the next exit. About a 20-minute drive or so? You chewed your lip in silence. Do you want me to take you there? He nodded, slowly. Please. So I stepped back towards the car and opened the door to the passenger side, I guess. I feel like the backseat kind of puts a weird hierarchy in place. Even with a stranger, it becomes like taxi, or like you don't want to sit next to them, or I don't know, something weird. I would just have them next to me, I think. Also, passenger side is easier to keep an eye on your right. I'm trying to play this as though we haven't already had one ending, so we don't know that he's like a bad dude, you know. I'm trying to do it from this character's perspective, is what I mean. Yeah, let's go passenger side. So I opened the door to the passenger side. He seemed harmless enough, and there was no point in being rude. He didn't move. Everything okay? Still nothing. I figured you were just nervous. I didn't blame you, this was a pretty weird situation. Then noticed you were mumbling something under your breath. Hey, no worries if it's too much, okay? Is the idea of the game not to learn from previous timelines? I've seen some games that have that as a mechanic. Probably, but just like while we're starting out and learning the mechanics, and while more mechanics are kind of becoming available, I want to try and play kind of canonically. Is canonically the right word? I mean, we'll do a mix of both. Playing character, yeah, exactly. Especially since this is the first time we've actually had options as a character, because obviously the first one was literally just reading text and then we died. So yeah, Goth, for context, in the first playthrough, whoever we were, we picked this person up, they sat in the back, and then they stabbed us, reached around and stabbed us in the gut with scalpel, and then we obviously crashed and both presumably died? But then I guess not, because he's here, but I mean, we don't know if these stories are like chronological either, so I don't really know. If you want, I can always call a police station. No. How charming, yeah. Well, his reasoning was it's just his nature. A refusal so quick I had to take a second to even register it. You sure? Must have struck a nerve. Without another word, you brushed past me and slid inside. Tried to give your shoulder a reassuring pat as you got in. As reassuring as I could manage, anyway. You almost hit your head on the roof when my hand made contact. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would have just randomly touched the dude. I mean, anybody really don't just randomly touch people without consent, because it's weird. Hey. What? Seatbelt. And no response. I glanced over my shoulder and pointed at the belt buckle. Put it on. I'm not moving this car until you do. He blinked at me, slowly, before pulling on the seatbelt. You examined it like it was a foreign object as you crossed it over your waist and hooked it into the belt. Into the buckle, even. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine. The radio still wasn't working. Really starting to piss me off. So, when it says still wasn't working, does that mean we're the same person from the first story? Are we like stuck in a loop? Or is it just that this character has been having problems with the radio for a while? Because this particular run-through, we haven't mentioned the radio yet. So that could signify we're in some sort of like time loop or something. I guess there wasn't that much signal that far out. And all the while, you hardly made a sound. Like you weren't even there. But you were. I checked. Quiet as a corpse, with your cheek pressed against the window. We drove for miles. Endless stretches of the same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. For all we know, we could have been driving in place. You are. Things started getting blurry. My eyelids were heavy from the weight of all the hours on the road. And surely we would have met the gas station by now. He said it was 20 minutes. Average West Coast US road then. Yeah, apparently. Didn't want to risk falling asleep at the wheel, so I went ahead and downed the last of my energy drink. It was long since flat. The sugar and gunk and artificial flavours all stuck to my teeth. Gross. I needed something more substantial to keep me awake. Music would have been fine, but the radio still refused to cooperate. What to do? Oh, right. As I heard you shuffling around in your seat, I realised that some friendly conversation could definitely keep me up. Hardly knew anything about you, after all. Maybe jump. You were just a total stranger, after all. No harm in breaking the ice, right? So I glanced over towards you and spoke. Hey. I managed to see your scalpel seconds before it went straight through my eye. The next thing I knew, we were both crashing through the windshield. A tree. Or was it a boulder, maybe? Couldn't tell. As soon as my vision went red, the wheel slipped out of my fingers and we crashed straight into something. My head was pounding. The muck that was left in my eye leaked down my chin. Ugh, gross. The only thing that kept me from passing out was the pain. Needles prickled across my skin, cut with shattered bone and shrapnel. Every breath I took was harder than the last. I think this is what it said in the end of the last one as well. There was no one else in the woods. There was no one around to help. Yeah, it definitely said this at the end of the last one as well. I'm gonna die here. Next to me, I heard you yelp in pain. Through the blood, I saw your leg twisted in ways it never should be. This was the end for both of us. I missed another ending. Well, the ending is occurring right now, so you haven't quite missed it. But instead of screaming, crying, begging for my life, all I could feel was anger. My mouth started moving before my thoughts could. What the fuck is wrong with you? Every word tasted like iron. Because of this. Because of you. Now we're both dead. Even with my sight melting away, I felt your eyes boring into me. Is this what you wanted? Your head lolled to the side as you choked and gasped, wiping your mouth on your arm. The veins in your neck bulged. I could see them clearly now. I wanted to wrap my hands around your throat and squeeze more than I've wanted anything else in my entire life. No. Then why? I pounced on your response like a rabid animal. I had to know. I deserved to. I heard your nails scrape across the gravel, hair curtaining your face. What? You cleared your throat and tried again. Your voice was thick with blood. Whose fault is this? Answer me. Whose fault? Who is to blame this ending? The one to blame is you. I'm trying to like circle it back to me, because I mean, like, it's his fault because, or it's our fault because we let him in the car, but just because we let him in the car doesn't mean he had to be a dick and fucking kill us, so let's go with you. You, obviously. You stabbed me in the fucking eye. What possible... I'd gotten too heated. I had to take a second to wheeze, feeling my lungs sting. You let him in the car, you didn't know we were a stabbist. Exactly. What possible reason could you have had? None. I stopped in my tracks, mouth hung open like a dead fish. What? There was no reason. No reason at all. Because it was not a reasonable thing to do. Somehow, it felt like you were speaking much clearer all of a sudden. And I saw movement in your direction. Were you standing up? I did it because I'm a bad person. Is all there is to it. I couldn't keep the eye I had left open any longer, even as my mind raced. I felt someone You, right next to me, creeping heat that sent goosebumps running up my neck. Because for people like me, I heard the smile in your voice. It's in my nature. We still got the same ending, I guess. Even though we had choices this time, and we did slightly different things to what we did last time, so that's interesting. Also, for those just joining, this is where you can play the game yourself or look at other games from this dev. You just never learn, do you? Interesting. Okay. It is free, yes. Not like that. Oh, okay. Let me tell you a story. My name's not important. Never liked it much anyway. I was driving that night to visit a friend on the other side of the mountains. Never met them in person before, but they needed my help. That was all that mattered. This is the same beginning again. The place really was out in the middle of nowhere, though. Sign of civilization, not a sign of civilization to be seen. My windshield had gotten cracked somehow. No clue when that happened. Okay, so it definitely sounds like we're in some kind of loop then. Or perhaps like a Groundhog Day situation where things reset, but there's like a slight bleed-through effect. I.e., we crashed into the windshield last time, so this playthrough there's a reminder of that from last time, even if everything else is technically kind of reset. So I guess there's also the possibility that we're all dead and this is just some kind of like limbo loop or something. It was no big deal. The car had already seen much better days, and one little crack wouldn't do any more harm. Even though I didn't remember having it. I was messing around with the radio when I saw you. Or anything in dirty clothes, sticking your thumb out. So Oh, so we can just drive past. Oh, well, why not? Let's just keep driving this time and see what happens. So I kept right on driving. Like hell was I falling for that. Stranger out here in the middle of bumfuck nowhere asking for a lift. Bumfuck nowhere is a top tier phrase. Are you kidding? Call me superstitious, but that sounded like the beginning of a ghost story. I sure as hell wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. Still felt your eyes on me as I sped past you, all the way down the road. Never saw you again. Hey, Gentlest, welcome in. How you doing, friend? Thank you. Can I get a shout for Richie as well? While we're on, I was just about to say let's get some shout-outs now. We've got a couple of people in. Thank you. Just at work working. Fair enough. Here we go. How did you find No Man's Sky? That's on my kind of soon list. So journalists, we're just playing a game called Hikeback, which you can check out here if you wish to. And 5 common sense. Nice. It's a visual novel, kind of Groundhog Day, loopy kind of time warpy stuff. I don't know. But yeah, so we finally got a second ending on our third playthrough. Short and sweet. Obviously we need to pick him up and figure out what's going on, but I just wanted to get that one out of the way to see what would happen. The really obvious, you know, let's just not pick him up at all. Maybe if I... yeah, there's a lot of this static effect, so anybody who has any kind of issues with statics or those kind of lights and things, obviously I won't be offended if you need to go and not watch this for whatever reason, but just to warn you that there's a lot of that. It's a lot of fun. I flew through a black hole, ran into Shai Hulud, I don't know who or what that is, and hunted space pirates. Hell yeah. Come along so far from where it used to be. Nice! Yeah, because it's like, it's procedurally generated, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. Let me tell you a story. My name's not important. Never liked it much anyway. Driving that night to visit a friend. Yes, we know. Never met them in person before. They needed my help. Giant space worm from June. Okay, I've not actually seen June. Pretty much the only thing I know about June is that my favourite actor rage quit from it because she didn't want to wear contact lenses in the desert. That's literally the long and short of everything I know about that. My windshield had gotten cracked somehow. No clue when that happened. Okay, so that still happened, or is still there, even though the last playthrough we survived. Wouldn't let the crack wouldn't do any more harm, even though I didn't remember having it. I'm messing around with the radio when I saw you. Horny thing in dirty clothes sticking your thumb out. So well, let's go. Decided to stop. What the hell, you know? Felt bad for you. Maybe you really needed the help. I don't think I could have lived with myself if I abandoned someone in a bad spot. I flashed my headlights and pulled over beside you. I'm reading these quite quickly now, because obviously we've done this a couple of times now. Static doesn't bother me as long as there's no jump scares. I mean, it's jump scared me a couple of times with the sudden noises and stuff, but as far as I know, there's no, like, visual jump scares apart from, like, sudden cuts between the screens. Everything's pretty still, so. As soon as I got out of the car, I could tell I made the right call. Here he is again. Look like shit. Yeah. I think these are meant to be freckles on his face or something else, because they seem very, I don't know, specific. Like, they're almost like scaly rather than freckly. But I can't think what else would be there, like splattered across the cheek and nose like that. I think freckles? Okay. He needed help, badly. Hey, you alright? Where you headed? He looked at me with a blank stare, as if I was saying nothing but meaningless noise. I sighed and took a step forward. He eyed me warily. Look, you need a ride, right? If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction? This is a family stream. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm glad we're not saying that. Is it? Is it, though? Need to consider this for a while. You ran your fingernails up and down your arms as if you were scratching at something. After a bit, you finally looked at me in the eyes. Is there a town nearby? I could tell just by listening to you that you desperately needed a drink. Unfortunately, I didn't think the half-empty soda sitting in my cup holder would cut it. Nearby? Not for a while yet, but there should be a gas station at the next exit. About a 20-minute drive or so? You chewed your lip in silence. Do you want me to take you there? He nodded, slowly. Please. Oh, that was him, sorry. Please. So I stepped back towards the car and opened the door to the... Well, I mean, I feel like both of these are terrible, aren't they? The first run through was back seat and we got stabbed in the stomach. Second run through was passenger side and we get stabbed in the eye. So, like, but the first run through we didn't actually have an option, he just got in the back anyway, I think. So maybe if we choose back seat it'll be different? I opened the door to the back seat. Better safe than sorry. He stared at me for only a moment before climbing inside. Because the only other difference is to say who's to blame. And of course the only other option for the who's to blame you or me thing is is if it refers to me, the player, rather than me, the driver. My confusion at the names of these characters is like that one episode of The Simpsons where Bart tries to answer that only who can prevent forest fires question. I don't remember that at all. Ooh, let me know what munchies you get, Garth. Hey. What? Seatbelt. And no response. Turned around in my seat and pointed at the belt buckle. Put it on. Not moving this car until you do. You rolled your eyes as you tugged on the seatbelt, as if we'd had this conversation before. Interesting. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine. The radio still wasn't working. Really starting to piss me off. Guess there wasn't much signal that far out. And all the while, you hardly made a sound. It's like you weren't even there. We drove for miles, endless stretches of the same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. For all we know, we could have been driving in place. Things started getting blurry. My eyelids were heavy from the weight of all the hours on the road. Didn't want to risk falling asleep. Got me again, bastards! Huh? The can was completely empty. Weird. Okay, so maybe this is like the flashes there where like alternate timelines are kind of crossing over into each other. Like that can should have been half full at this point, but because we drank it in a previous one, it's empty now. In the same way that the window's cracked. I've been so sure that I still had some left. When did I drink it? Had I forgotten somehow? I tried to shake the weird sense of deja vu from my head and keep my eyes on the road. I get deja vu on the most specific things, it's really weird. It's never something like vague, like, oh, I swear I've been in the shop before, deja vu. It's always like, I swear you said that exact same thing to me while I was wearing this top, but also coughing slightly because I just choked on this drink. Like, it's always super specific like that when I get deja vu, it's really weird. Still nothing from the back seat. I adjusted my rear view so I could get a look at what you were up to. I could barely see a thing. My throat closed up. I'm glad it's not just me. Oh, really? You get that as well? Okay, that's cool. What had I been thinking, letting you into my car? I had no idea who you were, what you wanted, or what you were capable of. For all I know, you could be hiding my body in a highway ditch somewhere by the morning. You were just a total stranger. It's gonna make me jump every time, I think. How far were we to somewhere safe? Something happened. Would anyone come to help? And as these thoughts swarmed my head, I heard you moving around in the back seat. My chest felt tight as panic surged inside of me. I swore that I could feel your breath on my neck. Are you about to kill me? I had to do something. Now. So one of the next questions is definitely going to be, would you pick up a hitchhiker in Richie's Polls? Nice. For those of you who don't know, Richie does what's called Richie's Polls over on Instagram, where he posts lots of questions in his stories for people to answer. They range from things like, would you pick up a hitchhiker, to, I don't know, well, all sorts of stuff. Some pretty specific, some bit sexual, some bit daft, whatever you want, and yeah, it's a really good time. I've been following since you started, I think, and it's nice. So yeah, if you like answering meaningless questions in polls, then check that out. I hit the brakes, so I spoke up. I mean, if we're in the stabbed in the stomach position again, like hitting the brakes is just going to make him stab the... Oh, I suppose stab the chair, because it's a scalpel, so it's not a very long blade. But then what? Once we've hit the brakes, do I just neck it into the woods? Yeah, should we try it? Let's try it. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed you out of my car, now. Without hesitation or warning, I veered off towards the side of the road and hit the brakes. Except, I didn't catch the tree in time. So I ended up crashing the car anyway. Okay. I see how it is. My legs weren't moving. My arms weren't either. My body didn't do anything that I told it to. Like in a dream. Or a nightmare. My head was pounding. All I could do was breathe. And that was getting harder by the second. Hurt, but eventually the pain all blended together like white noise. Dull. Comforting. Needles prickled across my skin, cut with shattered bone and shrapnel. Yeah, we're back in the loop again now. No one else in these woods, no one around to help. I'm gonna die here. Managed to turn my head to the side just enough to see you lying in a crumpled heap. You were face down, blood pooling out from under your head. You weren't moving. It was the end for both of us. Give me the Ringo vibes with the static TV, yes! But I haven't seen the Ring movies in ages. So I closed my eyes. I swear I had stream stickers on the same length timer as like all my other commands, but that's the only one that comes up at the minute for some reason. You were gonna kill me anyway. I just knew it somehow. Random stranger out in the middle of nowhere, all filthy, acting weird and asking for a ride. Of course you have to be a killer. Or some kind of bad person, at least. That's what he called himself in the last one, wasn't it? I'm a bad person. Anyone else would have done the same. This was the only way things could have ended. Did what I had to do in self-defense. Yeah, that was it. Self-defense. My breath shook. I did what I had to do. Right? And 2, self-defense. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I didn't think that one was going to go well, but it'd be interesting to try and talk to him this time. So I guess we'll leave him in the back seat then. That seems to open up dialogue. Well, I don't know if that actually opens up the dialogue or if it was just that dialogue, that option was opened up because we've done so many playthroughs already, you know? I don't know if it's a choices thing or a number of loops thing or a bit of both. It hurts. Let me tell you a story. Name's not important, never liked it much anyways, driving that night. Never met them in person before, they needed my help, that's all that mattered. Yep. Shibuya Scramble. I don't know that one. Windshield had gotten cracked. Around with the radio. Alright, let's get in, friend. Flash my headlights and pulled over. Right call. Oh, he's got a bloody nose now. I was wondering if he would start to change. Like, with the loops. Because obviously the first time we saw him, we didn't see his face at all. We just saw, like, from the 8 downwards. Like, his hands and stuff. And even then, I'm not sure if they were quite as clear as they are now. So now he's got a nosebleed, so maybe he'll continue to be affected by the loops, you know? Oh my god. Clown! Thank you so much! 8 gift subs to the community. Thank you very much. That's so kind of you. If it's not obvious to people, Clown is the dev of this game. So as I said before, you can check them out here if you want to look at the games. This one is free to play if you wish. Clown, do you stream as well? Do you want a little twitchy streamy shout out? I'm not sure if you stream or not. I did try to find you before, but I could not. Let me have a look. Thank you for playing. You're very welcome. I do not. Hey, no worries, no worries. But you are on Twitter, aren't you? What's your... Is your username the same on Twitter? If people want to check out, you know, keep up to date on Twitter and all that good stuff. But yeah, you're very welcome. I'm really into it so far. We've done 3 different endings, I think, and like 4 or 5 different loops. Catacope to Clown Dream. Same on Twitter as here, yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, definitely check out the games. Follow them on Twitter for updates and stuff. Takes a big sip and immediately forgets what I did. That's a mood. Okay, here we go. You can even see blood trickling out of your nose, so that's new. That's new since we did the car crash. Needed help. Badly. Hey, you alright? Where you headed? Me with a blank stare. I sighed and took a step forward. You eyed me warily. This has been great so far, Richie, you're right. I'm so into this. I wish I could stop getting jump scared by the fucking static screens, though. Can you at least give me a direction? I need to consider this for a while. You ran your fingernails up and down your arms as if you were scratching at something. After a bit, you finally looked at me in the eyes. Is there a town nearby? I could tell just by listening to you that Jasper needed a drink, but you ain't getting my soda. Nearby? Not for a while yet. There should be a gas station at the next exit, about a 20-minute drive or so. Read your lip in silence. I feel bad for this guy, because he's obviously, like, aware of this loop. The static noise exploded about 50% louder than it was supposed to be, resulting in an unintentional jump scare. Curses! That's okay, I forgive you. It is quite effective, you are right. So I'm working through my theories as we go, because obviously he's physically affected by the previous loops, hence the nosebleeds and stuff. But also, he seems to know who we are, and like know that sort of this cycle is... Well, he believes that this cycle is inevitable. I don't know if it actually is yet. And it's interesting that he called himself a bad person in quotes, and then in the next loop we called him a bad person in our head. We didn't even say it out loud. But we were just like, I mean, he's obviously a bad person. And he seems to have already adopted that kind of, well, everyone thinks I'm a bad person anyway, so let's just stab everyone. So it'll be interesting to see how that ties together. You want me to take you there? He nodded, slowly. Please. So I stepped back towards the car and opened the door to the... let's put in the back seat again. I'm basically going to do exactly the same as last time, except we're not going to yeet him into a tree. Well, we might, but we're going to try and talk to him before we possibly yeet him into a tree. Better safe than sorry. I'm inside. He did seem more surprised when we offered him the passenger seat the first time, which is interesting. Hey. What? Seatbelt. And no response. Turned around in my seat and pointed at the belt buckle. I ain't moving, bitch. Put the seatbelt on. Rolled her eyes as she tugged on the seatbelt as if we'd had this conversation before. We have. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine. Radio still isn't working. No signal. And then I'm starting to get all drifty sleepy, and the stretches of the same road. I mean, I do think it's weird that we get all this, oh, the road is endless, when I seem to think there's a gas station 20 minutes away. Like, surely I can't get that exhausted that quickly. Things start getting blurry. Didn't want to risk falling asleep. Ah! Got me again. Cannon was completely empty. Nope, we drank it already. Barely see a thing. My throat closed up. What had I been thinking, letting you into my car? No idea who you were, what you wanted, or what you were capable of. For all I knew, you could be hiding my body in a highway ditch somewhere by the morning. You were just a total stranger. How far were we to somewhere safe? If something happened, could anyone help me? And as these thoughts swarmed my head, what you doing back there? I heard you moving around in the back seat. My chest felt tight as panic surged inside of me. I swore that I could feel your breath on my neck. You want to kill me? I had to do something. Now. So let's talk this time and see where we go. My mouth suddenly felt very dry. With a deep breath, I spoke. Oh, posture check, thank you. What do you think you're doing? And almost as soon as the words left my mouth, oh. Your arms wrapped around my chest from behind, something cold and sharp pressed against my neck. Oh, that is creepy. Look at those eyes. I am merely taking precautionary measures. I gripped the steering wheel like it was my last chance. Blood roared in my head. Thank you for the alert, Goth. One flinch. One speed bump. That's all it would take for the stranger to slit my throat. As I swallowed, my skin sank a bit deeper into the blade. How so? Simple. You could stop this car and kill me at any time, or drop me off somewhere to rot in captivity. If you so wished, you could even crash this car and watch me burn, safe behind an airbag. Now didn't seem like the best time to mention that I took the airbags out of this thing years ago. But this way, you cannot kill me without killing yourself, and in turn, I cannot kill you without killing myself either. I mean, that didn't stop you before, bro. Thus, we are even. Does that make sense? This is reminding me of... what is it, the scorpion and the frog? You all know that story where the scorpion needs to cross the river and he asks the frog for help, so the frog lets him on his back, and then halfway across the river the scorpion stings him, and the frog's like, you know, starts sinking because he's been stung and poisoned and whatever else, and he's like, why did you do that? Now we're both gonna die. And the scorpion's like, it's just my nature. You waited for an answer. I mean, yeah, it does make sense. I think it's horrible logic, and it's, you know, probably not going to end well, because if you both trust each other that little, you're probably going to end up killing each other preemptively. You know, I'll kill him before he kills me kind of thing. But it does make sense, so I guess I'm going to say you have a point. I racked my brain for any good answers, and I came up empty. Couldn't really argue with that now, could I? I sighed, trying not to think about how close I was to dying at any moment as I drove. I admit it, you do have a point there, but What happens when we make it to the gas station? Hmm. You know, what's keeping you from killing me as soon as I stop the car? You huffed. I like to hope this passenger has more noble intentions than the Scorpion, though. I mean, if this passenger's been stuck here looping forever and ever and ever, over and over again, being killed by us, it's totally understandable that he would be distrustful of us. I certainly think, sort of, I don't think the beginning of the game was the first loop, you know? I feel like we joined halfway through. I have no reason to. All I need is the ride. Sure, I guess. But why should I believe that? You're already threatening to kill me and all. Just have to trust me. Trust you, huh? Well, oh no, that's me. Well, we're strangers, yeah? I don't know a thing about you. Trusting you is a pretty big ask. So, can I really afford to do that? If I stop this car, I'd be throwing away the only leverage I have against you right now. Then, by that same logic, if I take away this blade, I would be making the same foolish mistake. Certainly more verbose than when we started. We sat there in silence. I guess we're at a standstill then, aren't we? Your fingernails dug into my shoulder, scalpel nicking at my skin. Suppose we are. And for a standstill. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So, my plan this time is probably to put him in the passenger seat again and see if we can play around there now. I'd like to figure out a way for us to get out of this together. So we've had ending 1, 2, 4, and 5, I think, so we're only missing ending 3, I'm assuming, unless there is 6 endings. One more time. But at least we lived to the end of the story. I don't know how much longer after that we lived, but that's an improvement. Okay, one more time. Let me tell you a story. My name isn't important. Yeah, we know. We know. Would you like me to tell you how many endings there are? Oh god, are there like 94 endings? Yes, please tell me. I'm gonna guess 12. Now that I've said 5, and you've come in with that, which means I'm clearly wrong. 18, not including variants. Oh god. Oh god. Alright. Yeah, I love that. That's really awesome. Is it, I am so sorry. No, don't be. I love that. I mean, I'm probably not going to stream all of them, but I imagine I will play all of them in my own time, because I love stuff like that. Is it, difficult to plan? Like, I don't know how you do storyboarding and stuff for games, but when you have multiple endings and stuff, does it just not... I imagine it must get so confusing, trying to, like, follow each individual path. You know, some of them lead you to the same place slightly differently, and some of them lead you to the same place at some point near the end, but then branch off again. Like, how do you keep track of all that? Someone who got all 100 endings in Shibuya Scramble, that just makes me want to play this more. Nice. Okay. A little bit. I have one of those conspiracy theory cogwoods with sticky notes and string. Amazing. I respect that. Okay, messing around with the radio. Hello. Yep, decided to stop. The hell, you know? Felt bad for you. Maybe you really needed the help. I don't think I could have lived with myself if I abandoned someone in a bad spot. I wonder if... Well, I mean, we didn't die in the last one, so in theory he shouldn't look any different. Yeah, I think that's the same as last time, isn't it? Also, I'm not sure if he had this cut on his... There's a little cut on his left cheek. I'm not sure if that was there the first time we saw the full view of him. That might be from a crash. But he already had all these scrapes and stuff on his arms. Right, you needed help badly. I think that's new. The cut on his cheek was definitely there for the last one, but I'm not sure if it was there for the one before that. I think that might be from when we went through the windshield. I hope this is alright to say, but there's a point where things shift very dramatically. If you're repeating a lot of things and want to speed up, I can tell you a trick to get to that point quicker. Ooh. I'm gonna do one more on my own and see what happens, and then, yeah, maybe point me in the right direction for the next loop. We'll see how we go. But yeah, I don't mind. I don't really call it so much backseating in games like this, you know, with choices and stuff. I just call it more collaborative, so I don't mind things like that. Up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start. Oh, of course. Looked at me with a blank stare. Okay. We need a ride, right? Let's go. A town nearby? I can tell just by listening to you that you need to drink, but I don't got one because we drank it in a previous timeline. Okay, so let's put him in the passenger seat this time, again. Hopefully he won't stab us in the eye this time. Everything okay? They did have a cheat code for at some point for a friend who playtested. They can't do eye horror. They had to switch that. Removed those parts if you pressed a specific button. Amazing. Still nothing. Figured you were just nervous. Didn't blame you. This was a pretty weird situation. Also, I've just realised that the symbol on his chest probably isn't an 8, it's probably an infinity sign. Aha! I am a fool. Well, it could be an 8. I could be looking way too deeply into that. Mumbling something under your breath. Not the... Hey, no worries if it's too much, okay? If you want, I can always call a police station nearby. No. A refusal so quick I had to take a second to even register it. You sure? Must have struck a nerve. Not another word, you brushed past me and slid inside. We have read this one already, but obviously it's been a couple of rounds since then, so... I had to give your shoulder a reassuring pat as you got in. I still think that's a terrible idea for anyone. As reassuring as I could manage, anyway. You almost hit your head on the roof when my hand made contact. Hey. Seatbelt, bitch. What? Seatbelt. And no response. Is he ever gonna give in and just put the dang thing on? Rolled your eyes, you tugged on the seatbelt. With a sigh, I turned back towards the wheel and started up the engine. Alright, let's see what we got. Radio still wasn't working. Really starting to piss me off. Yeah, I wish there was a, like, maybe there is a way to fix the radio, but it's mentioned a lot, so I feel like there's some kind of clue in that, maybe. I mean, it ties into all the static and stuff as well. All the while, you hardly made a sound, like you weren't even there. But you were, I checked. Quiet as a corpse. Drove for miles. Endless stretches of... Yeah, again, we drove for miles. Surely we would hit the gas station then if it's only 20 minutes away. So, we possibly are driving in place, or just sort of resetting along the same stretch of road over and over again. Things are getting blurry. Huh? Town was completely empty. Weird. It's like we've done this 6 times already. Got you staring at me out the corner of my eye. As soon as I noticed, you turned back towards the window. I needed something more substantial to keep me awake. Music would have been fine, but the radio still refused to cooperate. What to do? We're just gonna get stabbed in the eye again. Oh, right. I heard you shuffling around in your seat. I realised that some friendly conversation could definitely keep me up. Hardly knew anything about you after all. You're just a total stranger. No harm in breaking the ice, right? So I glanced over towards you and spoke. Hey, so what are you... Yeah, straight into the eye. Okay. So this time I'm gonna say it's my fault, as in me the player, not me the driver. Let's see what happens there. See if it's gonna be some weird, like, fourth wall breaking stuff. A tree. Or was it a boulder? Well, I mean, we've been stabbed in the eye, so I can forgive you for not being able to tell. Head was pounding. Muck that was left in my eye leaked down my chin. The only thing that kept me from passing out was the pain. Needles prickled across my skin. There's no one to help. I'm gonna die here. To me, I heard you yelp in pain. This was the end for both of us. Instead of screaming, crying, begging for life, all I could feel was anger, which is very reasonable in this situation, I think. What the fuck is wrong with you? Every word tasted like iron. Because of this, because of you, now we're both dead. Even with my sight melting away, I felt your eyes boring into me. Is this what you wanted? Your head lolled to the side as you choked and gasped, wiping your mouth on your arm. The veins in your neck bulged, and I wanted to choke the shit out of you. No. Then why? I pounced on your response like a rabid animal. I had to know. I deserved to. I heard your nails scrape across the gravel, hair curtaining your face. You... What? You cleared your throat and tried again. Your voice was thick with blood. Whose fault is this? Answer me. Whose fault? Who is to blame for this ending? The one to blame is... I'm me. Clarity struck me then, almost as quickly as the anger had. As ridiculous as it sounded, as much as I barely believed it myself. Me. Pardon? You sounded just as surprised as I felt. But the longer I thought about it, the more it made sense. If I hadn't stopped, I hadn't picked you up or given you a lift, then this wouldn't have happened. Something squeezed down on my chest. I couldn't tell if it was from the impact or something else. How do you figure? Somehow, it felt like you were speaking much clearer all of a sudden. But I didn't dwell on it for too long. I should have known better. Don't trust strangers and all that, right? I wanted to laugh, but it hurt too much to even try. So I should have known better. Someone like you. How else could this have ended? All that frustration, all that blind anger and desperation and bitterness that I had felt. All I could feel now was regret. Regret that it had to end this way. Didn't realize how much time had passed until you spoke again. It's not your fault. What? I craned my neck as best as I could to catch a glimpse of you out of the eye I had left. It looked like movement from where you'd been. Like you were standing up or something. But that was impossible, right? You couldn't help it. You spoke so softly, as if you were trying to comfort me. Something pressed against my hair. Something warm. Like someone was petting my head. You sighed. Just couldn't help it. Because it's in your nature. And 6 bitterness. Oh, that was quite sad. I like that one. I mean, I've liked all of them so far, but I like that one a lot. Yeah, Clown, if you want to let me know what the drastic changes, or how to get there, rather. That clock keep changing. I mean, it would make sense, because we just got ending 6, and now it's on 6. So it is entirely possible. Oh my god, stream stickers, will you calm down? I could have sworn it was on 4 earlier. Well, we did get ending 4 as well. It's only ending out 1 to 5. It's, well, 1 to 6 now. It's only 3 we haven't got. So during playtesting, all I did was get ending 5 over and over again until it happened. Because I need to go through. So just keep getting ending 5 then. Okay. I can do that. It's pretty easy. Oh! Every time. Alright, let's just leave it on auto for now. Since we're going to see the same thing a few times, we might as well just let it cycle through. Kept driving. So I'm assuming ending 3 would be if I let him get in the back seat. And then... what was the difference? I don't know. I can't remember now. Oh no, now it's in 7, so maybe it's just going all the way around then. One more time. Okay. 19. Also, well spotted, Richie. I did not notice that. I'm not very observant at 3 o'clock in the morning, apparently. Yeah, I live in the UK, so it's currently 3 o'clock in the morning for me. 3 o'clock in the morning for Richie as well. Bye! And Goth, if Goth is still here. Yeah, my normal streaming time is in about 11 hours from now, but every now and then, because my sleep cycle is fecked, and I'm a bit of an insomniac, I stream at night as well, because I can't sleep, so why not? Alright. Let's see. Roll back. Again. Oh. Interesting. I'm not sure that's really doing anything, but I empathise with still. I'm up to watch Hawk play this and then download Better Call Saul. Nice. Again, again, again. Many times as it takes. No matter how long, no matter how far, no matter how much I had to suffer, no matter how many times I rolled back. Because I needed to keep going. I needed to keep running. Because I needed to escape this endless cycle. There. First oak, second bend on the left. But the only way from here was... Anyway, Clown, when else are you going to play a horror game but 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Run. Forward. My shoes were thinning at this point. The soles couldn't take much more of the same rocks, the same twigs, the same scattered debris. Just another one of the things I had to let stick around each time. As obnoxious as it was. If I wasted my energy rolling back every single little detail, I'd be dead by now. This wasn't worth it. So I settled for letting a few things slip through the cracks. So I have the power to roll back time. I'm assuming we're playing as the other character now. So that would explain why I'm aware of everything. And I didn't have much stamina left as it was. Exhaustion weighed at me weighed at my every step, leaving me lagging behind. Already 2.5 seconds slower to this landmark. Running out of time. Third bend, second stump. Only one option. I was just seeing if that would make a difference when it said only one option, but guess not. Okay. I kept running. As long as I kept moving, as long as I kept running, I'd make it eventually, right? Even if all I was doing was running in place. My lungs burned. Couldn't outrun her forever. I knew that much. Not stupid. I didn't have much of a choice anymore. If I got too far for her liking, she'd pull on my reins and drag me all the way back, kicking and screaming. Interesting. Not this time. This time I'd make it. Whenever this time would actually be. My muscles screamed, my breath sharp, stinging. I bit down on my arm, kept me going, distracted me from the ache. Pain's like an itch that way. If you ignored it, it would only get worse. Scratch it, and you'd get relief. If only for a little while. Yeah, I have heard, I don't know how accurate it is, but like, itching and pain. Itching is like a call and response in your brain, so technically as long as you itch something, it will relieve the itch. Like, even if you don't itch the specific place that itches. And I've tried it a few times, it does seem to work a little bit. But obviously you can also just like slap it or pinch it. Pinching around an area that's itchy I find really useful. If you have like a cut or something and you're trying to let it heal but it's itchy, like give around the area like little nips. That tends to help me. Fun fact, pro tip, whatever. But pain as well. I think I can't remember where I heard this, but you can only feel pain in one specific place in your body at a time. Like, technically you can feel pain all over, obviously, but it kind of bounces around one bit, one flash at a time. So, like, it feels like everything's hurting at once, but it's actually like one thing at a time in a very quick cue. So if you do have a pain in your foot that's bothering you, make a pain in your hand, and then the pain in the foot will go away because your brain will be focused on the hand instead. Fun fact. So weird, my left leg was itching, so I tried scratching my right and it worked. Yeah, it doesn't... From my experience, it doesn't work as well. Like, the itching will be relieved, but then it'll start again in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes. That tends to be what happens to me. But, yeah, it's weird, right? Your brain just goes, oh, you itched something, well done, and that's it. Anyway, next bend. 8th stump. I guess we're running again then. Yeah, that was it. Keep running. Running, keep surviving. Make it across the road and... Oh. Oh dear. No. No, 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 no. Not again. Not again. Shit. How could I have been so stupid? The road. The road. I had to wait for the car on the road. I could almost hear his voice then. Muffled. Distant. As he stumbled out of his car towards what was left of my body. But with the blood clogging up my ears, his words were lost on me. I felt his hands grip my shoulders, trying to shake me awake. Not that it mattered what he said anyway. There was no chance I'd settle for this ending. Even if my body was broken and bleeding, I could just roll back and everything would settle into place again. Like it never happened at all. I'm deliberately not rolling back at this point because I want to see if I get an ending first. So I willed myself to roll back. Why wasn't it working? Was I doing something wrong? All I needed to do was roll back, all the way until that choice I'd made, the one that had gotten me killed again. Then I could do it right this time. I could do better. So I willed myself to roll back. I'm just curious what will happen the longer I leave it. It might just loop this text now, but I was never... Yeah, okay. That's cool though. It's a cool little... Keep going, keep going. There, further. Huh? What? What was that? That didn't happen last time, right? Just a itch, maybe? Ooh. What the fuck? Oh. I was back here. Is this a hospital room? Definitely hadn't been found. Not that quickly. This was a different type of hitch then. Punishment for rolling back too much, I supposed. Bargained too much with the past, and eventually the past comes to collect. I waited. I'd eventually end up where I was supposed to be. That meant dealing with her. Even in my own memories, her presence put me on edge. I sat on the edge of my old cot, at her, on the folding chair across the room. Then, this was one of our sessions together. Way back when. Again, Number 8. I know you can do better this time. Training sessions, that is. My vision throbbed behind my skull, my nostrils thick with the stench of copper. Fun fact, my mum swore up and down that she'd never smelled anyone smoking weed in her lifetime, because every time she'd smelled weed in the air, she'd decided for some fucking reason that it was just someone burning copper. Because, you know, that's a thing people do on the streets on the daily basis, just burn a little bit of copper. Makes perfect sense, right? I was like, mother, what? We found out because we went to like Waitrose or something. Clown Waitrose, if you don't know, is like a really, like a upper market. Oh, it was Marks and Spencer's maybe? Either way, it was like an upmarket kind of grocery store, like one of the posher ones. And we go there for like the cheapy discounted meals at the end of the day sometimes. It's a little treat. But anyway, there was someone in the car park totally hotboxing, and they'd opened the door just as we were going past. So there was this like, huge, like, engulfing cloud of smoke that got us both. And I was like, see, that's weed, Mum. You have smelled it, surely. And she was like, oh, that's what that is. I just thought it was someone burning copper. Like, yeah, we just sat in a car, filling it up with smoke, just burning some pennies and some copper wiring. What the fuck, mother? And that was like 3 years ago as well. So for like 25 years of my life, give or take, and then however long of her life before me, she'd been smelling weed and just assumed it was someone burning copper. Unrestrained summer fun, right? Anyway. My nose is bleeding again. I decided not to deviate from the script. I can't. It hurts. My voice was small. So small, so fragile and useless. It sounded like a child, and I hated it. I wanted to tear that weakness right out of my throat. I know. I know it hurts. But you need to try again. Okay, number 8? Just one more time, and then you can rest as long as you'd like. Really? My blood boiled. You promise? I promise. Liar. Liar, liar, liar. Now, one more time. Find out what's on the other side of this card. And then roll back and tell me what it is before I show it to you. Do you understand? I watch way too much fucking Simpsons, don't I? Yeah, I'm afraid there's only one person that I know that would get all these references, and it ain't me. My nails dug into my arms as she spoke. So maybe that's what he was doing on the roadside? Like, it specifically mentions when you open the car door and when you try and talk to him and stuff that he's like scratching his arms and talking to someone or mumbling. Maybe this is what he's saying. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, let's try. We did a lot of running in the last one, so let's try hiding, I guess. Oh yeah, we're back here, aren't we? So we haven't reset completely. I forgot about that. That's a good point. The car would be passing by on the road any second now. If I ran, I'd get hit. So, I caught myself on a nearby tree and crouched down into the brush. I really like the word brush. I don't know why, it just pleases me greatly. but I always came to the same inevitable conclusion. I couldn't keep going like this. My legs hurt, stomach groaned, my eyelids begged for rest. I knew how this worked. I'd seen the movies. Movies I was allowed to watch in any case. Crept towards the side of the road, stuck my thumb out, just like I remembered. But in the movies, someone always winds up dead by the end, right? I didn't know what other choice I had. My scalpel hung heavy against my thigh, the one thing I'd been able to take with me, the one thing that had kept me alive. There had to be a better ending to this. There had to be. I wasn't going to give up, no matter what it took. So, he flashed his headlights and pulled over right alongside me. I'm sorry, apologise for not doing like proper voices tonight, but one, Mel is asleep next to me, my partner, and two, my throat is still recovering from the plague. So talking as myself isn't too bad, though it does get a bit tiring after a while, but doing voices and stuff really puts a lot of strain on it straight away, so that's why all my voices at the minute are pretty similar. As soon as he came out of the car, I knew something wasn't right. He was too quick about it. Too eager. Ah, interesting. So, for those of you who missed the very first playthrough of this, this is what we looked like, the character we're playing as now, the hitchhiker. When we looked at him, we could see from, like, the chest down, but we couldn't see his face. Just grateful for the stream. Take it as easy as you need. Well, you know, I pride myself on my voices, and you know, I literally have a degree in acting, so I do like to do proper voice work if and when I can. But yeah, we're doing a bit of a lazy one tonight. So speaking of which, Clown, if you ever do a game and you need some voice work, the door shut just a little too loudly. I knew. I just knew. He must have remembered. Oh, so we think he remembers every time, but he doesn't. That's interesting. He remembered, and he was angry, and he was about to hurt me and kill me and send me back and leave me to rot, and then he stepped forward. Close, too close. He was too close. Close enough to grab, close enough to choke, close enough to kill. I may have something in the works. Ooh, seriously, I can send you my Spotlight link if you want, or like, you can have a look on my YouTube or my VODs or whatever to get a bit more voice works that I do. But, yeah, seriously, I would love to work with you, that would be great. Close enough to hold and squeeze and sigh and whisper and tell me how much he didn't really mean it. Close enough to... Oh dear. Oh dear. My scalpel sank into his side. Gave so easily, like dough parting around my finger. But it wasn't enough. He pinned me to the ground. My scalpel was still stuck inside him, but this time it hadn't been fatal. He twisted my arm behind my back. Father, father, father. I heard something snap. I screamed into the dirt, tears biting at the edges of my eyes as my arm went limp in his grasp. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Make it stop, please, make it stop. Hissing through my teeth, I squeezed my eyes shut. I had to go back. I had to. Couldn't let it end like this. I knew it was scary. I knew it would hurt to feel it break again. But I didn't have a choice. Not anymore. All it would take was a quick rewind. I had to go back. I had to. Keep going, even if it hurts. Even if the pain feels absolutely unbearable. It took every ounce of me to stay focused as I lived through the pain all over again. Shit. Just a little further and I'd be free. Now he'll pin me to the ground and... Again? But... why? Was I really running that low? She warned me once. Said that if I rolled back too much, I'd tear myself apart, but... part of it, me hoped it was just another one of her lies. In that case, I knew I had to do whatever I could to find my better ending as quickly as possible. No matter the cost. Took a deep breath and waited for the memory to end. No. Not this one. Anything but this one. I was trying to hide underneath my cot, but there was no point. She saw everything. I hugged my knees to my chest as the door burst open. I heard her heels when she walked in. 2 sets of boots followed her. Security guards. I tried to be quiet. I tried to be still. I tried to be invisible. But it didn't work, of course. I always wound up right back here. Right back in this horrible limbo. Cycle that never ends. The guards pulled me out from under the cot by my ankles and slammed me against the wall, my arms pinned. I struggled. I squirmed and bit and screamed and kicked. Nothing worked. She stood between them, her eyes boring into mine. I couldn't look away even if I tried. You know why you're in trouble, don't you? Number 8. I bit my tongue to keep myself from answering on impulse. Think you do. I heard that you tried to run away again last night, number 8. The boys told me that you were quite the troublemaker, that you injured 3 of them when they brought you back home. They say you even roped a civilian into your antics. Apparently you convinced some poor old woman to hide you from us. Is this all true? Number 8? I tasted copper again. It's your fault. Oh? You killed her. She was only trying to help and you killed her for it. Is that right? Yet, you're perfectly aware of what we're capable of. Are you not? You know how much I care about you. And you know how far we'd go to bring you back safely to us. Yet even so, knowing all of this, you still put that woman in harm's way. This woman you believe to be so innocent. Did you ever consider her safety, number 8? Or were you content to use her for your own selfish ends? Stop it. We didn't kill her, number 8. You did. Ooh, that bitch be evil. She cupped my chin, her thumb stroking my cheek. You're not a good person, number 8. You never have been. You're a weapon, a tool, a killer, and nothing more. Don't forget it. A thrum. I bite my thrum at you, sir. It's in your nature. The woman you met knew that. That's why we found chloroform in her coat pocket. You're a weapon means something much different in Scottish slang. True. True. An absolute weapon. I didn't want to hear this anymore. I'm the only one who loves you for what you are, number 8. That's where the hiker kind of is a fucking weapon, right? I didn't want to be here anymore. You know better now than to try and leave me again, don't you? No more, 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 no more. Don't you, number 8. Ooh, didn't like that. No more. Breathe. I was out. Back to before he left the car. But that was fine. I'd remembered something. Something important. I remembered what had felt so wrong last time. I focused, trying to collect my thoughts. He was just you. You came out of the car, right on schedule. But something was still off. That smile of yours. Usually it was the first thing I saw. The last two, sometimes. This time, nowhere to be found. As much as it put me on edge, seeing you without it somehow felt even worse. Hey, you alright? Where you headed? Like clockwork. Same words, the same cadence, the same ending. What could I do to make things end differently this time? I was resisting not only what fate had in store for me, not only whatever your intentions were, but, in the end, my very own nature. What do you do when you're the one stacking the odds against yourself? Step closer, but I expect it this time. Not that it helps. My throat closes up when you approach, an involuntary response. Survival instincts. Look, you need a ride, right? So, round and round it goes. If I'm taking you somewhere, then can you at least give me a direction? Anywhere but here. But I knew I couldn't say that. I couldn't give too much away. I picked at the bite marks on my arm, forcing myself to breathe again. Deep breaths. Focus. Do better this time. I met your gaze head on and willed my voice to stay even, stable. I just realised I haven't really done any kind of commentary for ages, and honestly, it's just because I'm so fucking into this. I'm so sucked in. I kind of forget the rest of, the stream part of this, and I'm just like, what's happening? What's going on? What's next? But if that's not an endorsement for a game, I don't know what is. So am I. Good. Stick to the script. Is there a town nearby? And there was that smile. Almost as soon as the words left my mouth, your expression shifted. I'd never get a read on you, no matter how many times I rolled back. Nearby? Not for a while yet, I don't think. I tapped a finger on the inside of my palm, trying to be patient. Next it was, but there should be a gas station at the next exit. About a 20-minute drive or so. I sank my teeth into my lip. Only minor deviances so far. Would it be enough? Do you want me to take you there? What happens if we say no? I shook my head. Little things. Anything that could possibly make a difference. No offense, buddy, but you're the one that flagged me down in the first place, aren't you? I'll just leave you like this. At least let me get you set up at a motel or something. Figures. Not much tended to change before I get in the car unless I did something drastic. I insist. How were you able to smile so freely like that? Never understand it. He does seem like a nice guy. Lead the way, then. With a small nod, you turned back towards the car. I watched you closely, making sure you opened the right door. Back seat. Good. My shoulders relaxed, ever so slightly. Didn't like it when you were too friendly. Too trusting. Made me nervous. I'd already seen a lifetime's worth of you, but even so, I couldn't risk trusting you back. I had no idea who you really were, after all. You coming? Moment of truth. My scalpel felt cold, pressing against my skin as I climbed inside. The smell wasn't any better this time around. Like the bottom of an old ashtray. Hey. My brow furrowed. What? Seatbelt. Oh. Right. For some reason it slipped my mind every single time. Hard to think about road safety when I knew you could send this car hurtling into the tree at any moment. No seatbelt was going to help me there. Put it on. I'm not moving this car until you do. Whatever. Crossed it over my chest and tugged it into the buckle without another word. One time, back when I still wasn't sure what it was, I had asked you what seatbelts were for. You started asking me a whole lot of questions after that. Ones I didn't like too much. It didn't end well. That was about the time I'd realised that you couldn't know the truth. Not even pieces of it. People didn't tend to take it too well when they found ticking time bombs in their cars. Eternity gnawed at the edges of my mind, a limbo of my own making. Miles passed behind us. The same road, the same trees, the same dark expanse. My nails dug into my arms. It was like torture, waiting to see what this loop would have in store for me. Would we crash? Another threat, maybe? Would you try to turn me into the police? What was it that I had to do to get the right ending this time? How long would it take until I was free? How many times would my nature get the better of me? What was I doing wrong? My eyes stung. You moved. You weren't supposed to do that. You only shifted in your seat like that when you were suspicious of me. I glanced up and the drink was gone. Not right, not right, not right, not right at all. I'd left that hitch behind ages ago. More trouble than it was worth. So you were supposed to realise that it was empty when you picked it up to take a sip, and then go back to driving. Like normal. But your cup holder was empty and it wasn't right. Not right at all. Okay, so the carrying over thing that I mentioned before, that does seem to be what are you referring to as hitches? I think that's what that is. I'm just going to open a can. I'll try to do it quietly, but let's see. Because obviously I need a drinky with all this reading. Not too bad. Had you realised? Did I get something wrong? Did I make it too obvious? Had I left too many hitches behind? Did you remember everything? Were you just playing along so you could get me back in your car and find the right moment to kill me? Or send me back to her? How much longer? How much longer until I died again? Sounds like that make you instantly crave a Pepsi. That's what it is. It's a Pepsi cherry. Pepsi Max cherry. How much longer until they collared me and locked me away for good? How much longer until the windshield shattered into pieces across my chest? How much longer until... Hey. Oh god. You knew. My scalpel was in my hands already. I didn't remember how it got there. So, I've been meaning to ask, what's got you hitchhiking like this anyway? What are you looking to find in town? Are you taunting me? You had to know already. You had to. You waited for my answer. What was I looking for? A better ending. I'm looking for a better ending. I knew there was one still out there for me. I knew it. All I had to do was find it. Earn it. There was no way that everything I'd been through was for nothing. A better ending? Ending to what? Everything. I thumbed the edge of my scalpel. I don't think I catch your meaning. You have no need to. It's none of your business. I heard you snort. It kind of is. You're in my car, you know. I disagree with you there, sir. Just because you're giving him a lift doesn't mean his life's your fucking business, but okay. You're not planning on doing something dangerous, are you? The blade stung at my flesh. And if I was? I didn't wait for an answer. This path was already a lost cause. You must have figured it out already. But I wouldn't be so careless the next time. Before you realised what I truly was, before you lost control of the wheel, I drove my scalpel into the back of your seat. And I prepared myself to start again. Ending 8, denial. Ooh. Is this really the ending that I want? I was gonna try, but then it went back to the menu. I was gonna try that though, Richie. It's my fault I clicked because I was like, oh, there might be a little bit more dialogue that we can read. But there wasn't, so I should have tried to roll back first. That was my bad. That was a long one though, with a lot of information. So let's see what happens if we do another one. I don't want it to end like this. Where was I? Oh, right. Oh, so we're back with... Oh shit, we're back with the guy. Oh, that's really annoying. Oh no, I should have rolled back. It's my fault. It's my fault. Ooh, this is slightly different though. That would ruin the surprise after all. This is different dialogue, slightly. Tapped my fingers against the steering wheel. This area was definitely rustic. Small town, small people, small problems. Made things easier. Didn't bother messing with the radio any further. Long since given up the ghost. Finally. Ran my thumb over the cross at my neck, thinking, planning. And then I remembered something. Something important. It was something that had never happened before, but it was a memory, nonetheless. Funny how that works, huh? And that's when I saw you. Brawny thing in dirty clothes on the side of the road, sticking your thumb out. Someone who needed help. So I guess we'll stop and see if something different happens this time. So I decided to stop. Couldn't very well abandon you, could I? That strange little memory tugged at the back of my head. So I elected to compromise. I flashed my headlights and pulled over a little further down the road from you. That'll freak him out, he's not gonna like that. I went straight to the trunk as I got out and grabbed some essentials from my bag. Phone, first aid, that sort of thing. Even if it was nothing, I figured there was no harm in being prepared. What's that saying again? A stopped clock is right twice a day or something? I closed the trunk and started heading down in your direction. Got the chance to look at the stars as I walked. The sky was gorgeous that night. No light pollution or big ugly buildings to muck things up. See the stars the way that the Lord intended. It helped me think. I figured I could hang around this area for a while once I was done with my visit. The air could do me some good. When I got close enough, I waved you down to get your attention. You seemed nervous. I didn't blame you. Hands in my pockets, I approached you with a smile on my face. Just didn't feel right not to have one. As soon as I saw you, I knew I'd made the right decision. You were a sorry sight, like you'd been wandering these woods for days. Alone, frightened, desperate. Poor thing. You needed help, badly. I forgot to mention this before because I thought it but I didn't say it out loud, but the 8 on his jumper is obviously because he's number 8. It makes sense now. Hey, you alright? Where you headed? No response. Didn't even look me in the eyes. Like he knew something that I didn't. He took a step forward. He didn't even flinch. Take as long as you need, okay? No rush. Just tell me when you're ready. Now that got your attention. You eyed me warily, as if looking for something. I wondered what you thought you would find. You need a ride, right? Give me a direction and I can take you there. Still nothing. You looked like you were struggling with something. Only God knew what was going on in that head of yours. But I waited, patiently, as long as you needed. Not like I was going much of anywhere. You ran your fingernails up and down your arms, as if you were scratching at something. And then, you finally met my gaze. Is there a town nearby? Your voice was parched from thirst. Sounded like you were 2 steps from passing out. No wonder you needed my help. Not for a while yet, unfortunately. I wasn't too keen on the idea of bringing someone who knew my face along with me during my visit. Interesting. Besides, it wasn't really a lie. The Lord would forgive me. But there should be a gas station at the next exit. About a 20-minute drive or so. I could take you there, if you like. Another pause. Something was really getting to you. Life would be so much easier if people were just open with their problems. Easier to help that way. But patience is a virtue. I knew I'd learn the truth eventually. I always did. Please. So polite. The way you spoke made it sound like you were trying to impress somebody. Even though I knew you didn't have a lick of trust in me. Poor thing. My car's over there. You good for a short walk? Another nod. Not much hesitation this time. Are you already warming up to me? How cute. But not enough to walk ahead of me, I figured. So I took the lead as we made our way back. This is interesting, because obviously we're back to the original perspective, but now we're getting way more insight. Like, we basically knew nothing about the driver. I pressed a kiss to my cross when you weren't looking. Ah, stars were so lovely tonight. I almost got lost in them. The steady sound of your footsteps alongside mine kept me on track. I wondered if you realized how loudly you were breathing. How long until you decided to make the first move? How long until that distrust of yours got the better of you? I was ready to let it happen. I wanted you to have your moment. Patience, as always. So does he know? This is so weird. You just made it to the car when you finally jumped me. I have to head off, I'm afraid, but thank you for streaming. It's been lovely. You're very welcome. I mean, obviously you can watch the VOD, Richie, but I'll also be uploading this to YouTube, so if you want to catch the ending, you can find it there. But thanks for hanging out, and thank you for the game, Rex, and I hope you get some rest. Pinned up against the door to the driver's seat with your scalpel at my neck. Well, that had been your plan anyway. But I'd remembered something that never happened before. And now, my fingers closed around your trembling wrist as you strained, trying so desperately to drive the blade into my flesh. You were too exhausted to use your full strength, so I watched you struggle in vain. What do you think you're doing? Your teeth ground against each other, so determined to see this through. Is that any way to repay a stranger's kindness? I tightened my grip, my nails digging into bone and fragile skin. You hissed, face scrunched up in pain. It was all the distraction I needed. The side of the car groaned as I slammed your weight into it. My hand was caught in fistfuls of your hair. You hung limply from my grasp, like a doll. The scalpel slipped out from your fingertips. I did think that if he was unconscious, then he can't roll back, so we can change things. Your eye twitched where the side of your head had made impact. With a sigh, I tossed you back onto the ground. You struggled to sit up. Okay, so you're not unconscious. So he's aware that this has been happening and then he keeps getting murdered by this guy? It didn't seem like... Well, I guess we were aware. So if we assume we were the driver in those instances, we were aware of it? I don't know, it's bizarre, Clem. It's bizarre. I kicked the scalpel under the car. No time for silly things like that anymore. Ah, you were still trying to fight. Teeth bared, pulling yourself up to your knees. Couldn't have that now, could we? So I pulled my gun out of my pocket and aimed it right at your head. You froze, eyes wide as ever, like a deer in the headlights. Poor thing. You really hadn't expected this at all, had you? That's enough. Sit down. To my surprise, you complied rather quickly. It's like all the fight in you just vanished. All it took was a little tough love, huh? There you go. Feeling better now? Your eyes stayed locked on the end of the barrel. Care to tell me why you decided to stab me in the back? I kept my voice even, gentle, no sense in losing my temper or anything. You swallowed. I could see your lip trembling. You glanced down at the ground beneath the car. Someone was getting ideas. I flicked the side of the gun with my other hand, finger still on the trigger. You jumped at the sound. Eyes up here, buddy. Let's try again, shall we? Why were you trying to kill me? You inhaled sharply. Please. Ah, so you'd finally found that voice of yours. What was that? I gestured with the end of the gun. Your chest rose and fell, shaking like a leaf. Please. Please don't kill me. It sounded like you were about to cry. But that didn't exactly answer my question now, did it? One more time. Think carefully, alright? Come on now. Answer the question. Patience is a virtue, but I had so little of it left. Can't exactly help those who refuse to be helped, can I? You didn't hold back this time. The words spilled out of you, ugly and messy and everywhere, like a man at confessional. I don't know, I was just scared and Scared? I hummed. So then, you acted on instinct? You nodded furiously. I couldn't help it, so I... Shh. You went silent immediately. Just one more question for me. One more, and I'll set you free. Your eyes widened. One more, okay? Think carefully. I tilted my head, meeting your eyes. Are you a bad person? You didn't respond. You want to go free, don't you? Answer me then. Are you a bad person? You stammer uselessly. I don't know. I don't understand what you're... You're not sure? I don't think he is. I think so many people have told him he's a bad person that he believes it. But that's, I mean, bringing into question, do you think people are inherently evil, or is it nature versus nurture and all that kind of thing? But I'm gonna say you aren't. You aren't, are you? Your brow furrowed. I smile. It's alright. I can tell. Bad people, they don't just come popping up out of the ground, you see. Evil is made, raised. The world just pushes and pushes and pushes, and sooner or later you start to push back. Seems reasonable, doesn't it? You didn't say a word, but you didn't have to. So, how'd you get to this point? Just how far did this world push you? I crouched down to meet you at eye level, watching those eyes of yours start to water. You must have been through so much to think that this was your only option. But it never ends, does it? No matter how hard you try. No matter how hard you push back, you're always left with the pain. And it never ever leaves. And your tears streamed all the way down to your chin. An endless cycle. Exactly. Round and round it goes. A life like that, it's enough to break you. You must be exhausted. You nodded, with such relief in your face. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to go through all that anymore. I forgive you. The Lord always forgives. I wrapped an arm around your shoulder, and you crumpled like a stack of cards. You fell into me with your fists balled up in my shirt, wet with tears and snot. I held you as long as you needed, kept you as close as I could. Deep breaths. You can rest now. You're free now. I closed my eyes, smiling against your neck. You'll never have to suffer again. You didn't even realize my gun was at your head until it was too late. Complex. I fucking knew it. As soon as he was like, one more question and I'll set you free, I was like, no, he's gonna fucking kill me. Well then. Well. I think I'm gonna leave it there. We've been streaming for, yeah, just over 2 hours. And we've had 6 or 7 endings, maybe a couple more. Normal person behavior, exactly. But I'm definitely going to be playing the rest of this in my own time because I want to get all of those endings. Biatch. This was so good. I was absolutely hooked with that narrative. That's why my commentary got sparser and sparser, because I was just like, I need to know what happens. Come on, what's going on? Oh man, it was like picking up a good book. You just got to keep turning the pages, man. That was so good. That was sick. Let me just drop a link in chat in case there's any lurkers, in case you want to check out this game for yourself or any others done by Clown. This is optional donations to play, totally free to play if you want to. You don't even have to download it. I think there was a browser version as well, wasn't there? I'm really happy you enjoyed it. It means a lot. Oh, mate. So good, honestly. And I don't even play that many visual novel games. Like, I played one the other day, which ironically was also a game I found on Twitch. Another streamer developed that game. And other than that, I've played like 2, maybe 3 visual novels in like my lifetime. Because I prefer my game to have a little bit more game, you know? Especially when they don't have a lot of options in them, but this one I was hooked from start to finish. Yeah, really, 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 really good. Really fun. Really creepy, really atmospheric. Just like, just detailed enough with the visuals and the music and everything and the sounds to like really suck you in. But obviously, it's 90% the writing, really well written, and I'm super excited to see the rest of the endings. Ooh. Sorry, that was me opening Twitch to see what's online. Let's see who we got. The world's cutest is playing Resident Evil 4, which is kind of spoopiness, so let's go over there, I guess. Ooh, that's not how you spell raid. Make sure that's spelt correctly. It isn't. I missed an entire word. Well done, me. There we go. As always, thank you everyone for hanging out. I'll be uploading this on YouTube, so we can, so it's going to be available for as long as you want it, really. Have a great rest of time zone, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!